back to KRYVR Retro River Radio. I'm your host and station manager, Jim Bob James. We're broadcasting semi-live from our studio on the muddy banks of the Kiskatoon River, where the fish bite early and the news is often so boring, it's downright pleasant. Same as the people around here. First up is the news. Here's what's happening on the riverbank today. We've got a little bit of a traffic jam happening on Conestoga Circle in Jayville, where a small herd of deer is blocking the road, munching away at Miss Tilly Lewis's heirloom tea roses. A delicious treat for our four-legged friends, but not a nice situation for Lewis's. You've also got a clever little speed trap going on. Highway patrolman Tyler Travis is hiding out near Garfield Park in Ashland, zapping folks with his shiny new radar gun. If you're going 38 and a 35, you're going to get the full flashing lights and electric combo. Slow it down, y'all. This ain't NASCAR. Today's forecast is partly cloudy with a 60% chance of light gusts of happy memories blowing in from the west, and not too much heading south. Good news for families, crops, and that one guy still trying to fix his barn roof with duct tape. Besides the deer I mentioned earlier, a few oblivious Canada geese are strutting around Greenhorn Park in Wairika like they own the place. Proceed with caution. They have zero respect for traffic laws, and even less for your paint job. In our community corner, Mrs. Snowday's art exhibit opens today in Montague, featuring artwork by incarcerated artists and creatives living with mental illness. Powerful stuff with powerful stories. Vacation Bible School kicks off Monday at Rebel River Community Church in Haven Hollow. Kids ages 5 through 12 are welcome. Bring a snack to share in either goggles or sunglasses. Why? That's between the Lord and the VBS leader, and neither of them are given clues. Next up, sports. The Kiskatoon Kickers weekly horseshoe tournament ended in controversy when Hank Slippy Simmons threw a ringer, then immediately slipped on a bratwurst. He's okay. His pride has been seriously injured. And let's not forget the Haven Hollow Pickleball League. The River Runners took down the Soggy Sox 11-9, what's already being called the Gatorade game. Mostly because Tim Bennett drank 3 bottles and ran around backwards on the court for a good 10 minutes.
Okay, Jim Bob James is falling asleep at the wheel here, so this is Julie May taking back the mic for Jim Bob James here on KRYVR Retro River Radio. Well, that wraps up the news from the muddy banks and shady lanes of our little hamlet of Haven Hollow. And now I've got a little announcement for all of you out there in Radioland. Want to be part of the KRYVR Retro River Radio Show? Send us a voice memo with your own playful call-in. Just write a short, fun script, maybe a question and answer between a caller and a radio host, and record yourself playing both parts. Keep it clean, kind, country, and comedic, just like Aunt Mabel's church potluck jokes. Keep it under 60 seconds long, and email your voice memo to juliemaymoral@gmail.com. If it makes us chuckle, your quirky dialogue might just end up on an upcoming episode of KRYVR River Radio, unless those pesky raccoons get to the inbox first. Now let's cool it down on this easy breezy summer day with a tune from the Kiskatoon. Here's Bring Me Back by J. Herwen right here on KRYVR K-River Radio.
I found my voice, now here I am, seeing it all from where I stand. Stars are guiding me, fire burning beautifully, reaching out now, reaching out. You held my hand and together we roam. Whoa, whoa, whoa. But now I stand alone in my own. Bring me back to the world. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where I'll be safe even if I fall. Won't let gravity pull me down. Bring me back to the world. Standing alone, where I go, light shining bright, but still I'm low. Searching for home, feeling so lost, finally found at any cost. You can stay now, wherever I roam. Oh, be safe even if I fall. Won't let gravity pull me down. Bring me back to the world. Standing alone, where I go, light shining bright, but still I'm low. Won't let gravity pull me down. Bring me back to the world. In the silence, I hear the call, echoes of a distant home so small. Through the darkness, I'll find my way back to where I belong. Come what may, you held my hand and together we roam. Whoa, 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 whoa. But now I stand alone in my own. Bring me back to the world. Whoa, 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 whoa. Where I'll be safe even if I fall. Won't let gravity pull me down. Bring me back to the world where I belong. I won't let go, won't let go. Bring me back, oh bring me back. Bring me back. Bring me back.
That was Bring Me Back by Jay Herwen, and you heard it right here on KRYVR Kiskatoon River Radio. And now a quick word from our sponsors who keep this radio station alive and kickin'. Do you need a four-legged fishing buddy? Marble Mountain Kennels has got you covered. For the highest quality black, yellow, chocolate, and fox red labs, as well as expert training, contact Pete Morrill at his ranch in Siskiyou County, California. Area code 530-598-0943. Are you feeling stuck and at a crossroads, searching for life's meaning and your life calling? Invite Pete and his wife to organize a retreat or workshop for your group or organization, where they will take you step by step through their True North Quest training to help you discover and fulfill your calling. Located in Northern California, you can reach them at 530-598-5935. Or on one of those newfangled website things, tnadventures.org. And finally, is your tractor leaking oil, your chicken coop full of drama, or your outhouse listing to port? It's time to call Frank's Fix-It-Alls. If it's broke, Frank's probably already patched it with something odd. Ask about his signature solution, bubblegum, bungee cords, and blind optimism. Frank's Fix-It-Alls now offering goat rentals for weed control and low-budget lawn care too. Okay, time for our listener call-ins. If you've got something to say about our little hometown on the river, we want to hear from you. We've got Kevin on the line. Now, Kevin, I know you can get a bit colorful, but let's keep it clean for our family-friendly audience.
Rancher Hank, if you're listening, bend your fences and keep your dad-blamed doggone blasted cattle off my property!
Okay, Kevin, we're getting a little too heated for our family-friendly radio show. Let's not hash out neighborhood feuds on the air.
Dagnabbit, blasted old doggone it!
And we're moving on. Okay, hey, Jim Bob, you're back. You woke up from your nap, I guess. We've got caller Harriet Higgs on the line, Jim Bob. So, Harriet, go ahead. You're on the air.
I just wanted to call in a recipe for Ellie Jane because I don't have a phone and she wanted to make this pie for the cribbage game tonight.
I'm sorry you don't have a phone, Harriet, but this is a radio show, not a recipe outline.
Please, Jim Bob, it'll be quick and I promise not to do it again, unless it's peach season.
All right, Harriet, go ahead.
Okay, here it is. 1 cup of water. 1 tablespoon sugar, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1 small box of strawberry jello, 3 cups of fresh strawberries.
Okay, thank you very much, Harriet.
I'm not finished. Mix water, sugar, and cornstarch in a pot. Heat it till thick. Stir in the jello until it dissolves. Cool it in an ice bath for 10 minutes. Stir in strawberries, pour it all into a cooled pie crust, and top with whipped cream. Done and delicious.
Thank you, Harriet. I hope Ellie Jane caught all that.
And Jim Bob, I was your babysitter when you were little, and I'm telling you right now, don't you ever sass me on the air again.
Yes, ma'am. Sorry, Mrs. Higgs. And now it's time for River to My Home, a quiet corner where we celebrate the soul of the Kiskatoon River Valley. Here's Julie May Morrill.
It's been a country kind of week here on the river, the place I call home here in Haven Hollow. A place that's a whole lot of nowhere and just a little bit of somewhere, tucked away in the mountains and valleys along the Kiskatoon River. While the outside world leaps ahead at breakneck speed with modern inventions like digital watches, microwave ovens, and Polaroids becoming commonplace amongst the populace, Kiskatoon River cascades along at its own pace, a few decades behind, content to remain blissfully unaware. Life in the country brought more than a few surprises for the Mackenzies. Dirt, bugs, a brand new congregation, and most unexpected, a pot-bellied pig named Rosie. The gift came from a kind parishioner who thought the camp kids deserved their own mini petting zoo. For the Mackenzie kids, the Kiskatoon National Forest was a dream come true. Zigzagging deer trails to explore, frigid creeks to wade through, endless trees to climb, and logging roads made for banana seat bikes. Camp horses galloped through meadow grasses, and wildlife felt like characters in their own backyard novel. For a kid, river life was the best kind of adventure. Water greeted them everywhere. Streams, ponds, lakes, rivers. Fishing quickly became a favorite pastime. Marin, though a little squeamish about picking bones from trout, somehow became the best angler in the family, until Dad made a new rule: if you catch it, you eat it. And that ended her fishing streak fast. Suspiciously, Dad and Colt's record-breaking catches took off after Marin's retirement. And no, they didn't eat all their fish either. Catch and release suddenly became their official method. Meanwhile, Marin had bigger concerns: how to fit in with the local kids. Unlike her younger siblings, who were quickly welcomed as honorary river rascals, Marin got the side-eye from the older kids her age. And where did she meet this rough-and-tumble crew of sun-baked, mud-splattered almost grown-ups? Church, of course. One sunny Sunday after service in the fellowship hall at the Rebel River Community Church. Such a naughty-sounding name for a church, right? Adelaide Addie Madison, a flaxen-haired girl with twinkling eyes and more mischief than manners, tugged her mom over to ask if she could have a play date with Marin. "Can she come over?" Addie asked, sugar in her words and a gleam in her eye. Marin checked with her dad, who gave a quick nod. Permission granted. Addie's family ranch sat way up Haven Creek, nestled among weathered barns and hayfields sprinkled with yellow and purple wildflowers. When Marin was dropped off that sultry June afternoon, dark clouds were already piling up on the horizon, and a breeze was starting to swish through the pines. Carol Madsen greeted Marin with warmth and a dish towel slung over one shoulder. Her husband, however, had his own style of welcome. "Well, look what the cat dragged in," Randy Madsen said, eyeing Marin with a half-grin. "Another city slicker here to escape the rat race, huh?" Marin wasn't sure if he was teasing or testing. His words had a bite, but his eyes had a twinkle. "I'm learning to be a country girl, sir," she answered shyly. Randy laughed so hard he wiped tears from his eyes. "Addie, your guest is here," he called out. Addie came tearing out of the house in cut-off jeans and scuffed up cowboy boots to greet her guest. "Can you show this city girl how to be country?" Randy asked his daughter. "Sure thing, Pops." Addie's lip curled into a sly grin. "We'll start with some horseback riding." No, Carol argued. "Start with something milder. Take her for a dip in the irrigation ditch." "Stick to buck and stay in the corral," Randy warned with a raised eyebrow. "And don't get any ideas." "Maybe a little goose herding, too?" Addie suggested sweetly. "Now that's proper country hospitality," Randy said with a chuckle. "Please don't scare the poor girl off on her first visit," Carol said, shaking her head. "You can climb hay bales in the barn." "We've got all day, Mama." Addie shrugged. "We can do it all." Randy kissed Carol on the cheek and gave his daughter a parting wink. "Don't expect miracles, Addie. Takes time to scrub the city out of folks." With that, he disappeared through the screen door, letting it creak, swish, and slam behind him. The bang startled Mi Ling, the family's pampered Siamese, who shot beneath the couch like a furry rocket. After a quick lunch of juicy plums and turkey sandwiches with the crust cut off, Addie shouted, "Come on, Marin! Have you ever ridden a horse?" But Marin didn't get a chance to answer. Addie was already halfway across the yard, bolting toward the stables like a wild Mustang. Marin hiked up her calico prairie skirt and ran to catch up. "Buck's a sweet old thing," Addie assured her as she pulled handfuls of pasture grass. "You wearing shorts under your skirt?" Marin nodded. "Good. Ditch the skirt." Marin stepped shakily out of her skirt and draped it over the fence before climbing the rails and following Addie into the corral. "You're going to ride bareback," Addie explained. "Here, I'll help you mount." She stood on Buck's left-hand side, laced her hands together, and held them out for Marin to step into. "After I hitch you up, swing your leg over and grab onto Buck's mane so you don't fall off." Marin's eyes widened as she stared at the horse calmly chewing on Addie's clump of grass. He was twice her height. Her teeth chattered and she hesitated, but she was determined to prove herself as a country girl. Stepping into Addie's handmade stirrup, Marin stood with one leg and slammed her body into Buck's side as she felt herself being pushed upward with Addie's strong arms. "You gotta swing your leg over, Mare," Addie called. Marin gritted her teeth and with a grunt grabbed Buck's mane. She wriggled up until she was sprawled flat on her belly, gripping the horse like a clinging cat. "Hold on," Addie instructed as she walked round to the other side. "You hold on while I pull your leg down so you can sit." Tugging on Marin's right leg, Marin was finally somewhat mounted. "Now you gotta sit up, silly," Addie giggled. "It's gonna take you a while to scrub the city out of you. Try to scoot forward and sit up like you're actually riding a horse." Marin did her best but never managed to catch her balance, and as she tried to scooch forward, she found herself slipping to the left little by little until she slid slowly off Buck's back and hung, still hanging onto the mane as she dangled a few feet from the ground. "Let go and drop, Mare," said Addie. "You're pulling his poor mane and it's probably hurting him." "If I let go, I'll fall," Marin argued. "You won't fall," Addie promised. "I'll catch you." She crouched beside the horse, wrapped her arms around Marin's legs, and tugged. Marin let go, and the two girls tumbled to the ground, landing in a mixture of dirt and manure. "Oh, gross," said Marin, standing and attempting to brush some green slop from her shorts. Addie shrugged, still laughing. She grabbed Marin's hand and tugged her back over to the corral fence. "A little horse turd never hurt nobody," she said cheerfully. "It's part of being country. We can wash up in the ditch, and I think it smells kind of good in its own way." Oddly, Marin had to agree with the odor. It wasn't bad, actually, but that didn't mean she wanted to roll in it. Once again, Addie was off like a shot, running, then kicking off her boots and jumping into the irrigation ditch like a crazy banshee. "See," she shouted, "this is how country girls get clean again." Marin kicked off her Mary Janes, peeled off her white bobby socks, took a deep breath, and jumped in after her, only to find that she was ankle-deep in oozy mud and unable to move. "Ugh! It's cold, and I'm stuck in the mud," Marin groaned. "No, you're not. I'll help you," said Addie, laughing heartily. She climbed out of the ditch and flopped to the ground on her belly, reaching out with both hands. "Grab my hands and I'll pull you." But Marin was frozen in place and shaking. "There's something moving in the water," Marin whispered, frozen. "It touched my leg." "Probably just a minnow," Addie said. "Or maybe a harmless little water snake." Marin screamed, "Get me out! Get me out!" She grabbed Addie's hands and prayed to God she'd get out of the ooze before a snake bit her. After a struggle, Marin's feet finally pulled free and she fell splat onto the muddy bank of the ditch, now more mud-covered than ever. She crawled up the bank, biting her lower lip to fight back the tears. "You okay?" Addie asked. Marin shook her head. "I'm a muddy mess." "You can't be a country girl till you get a little muck on you and quit your complaining," Addie scolded her as her face broke into a smile she could no longer suppress. "You look hilarious. You need to jump back in there and wash up." "I'm not going back in there," Marin argued, picking up her shoes and socks. Addie jumped up and pulled Marin to her feet. "I'll take you to cleaner water then." She ran all the way upstream to the creek, dragging Marin behind her. Haven Creek ran clear and clean as it gurgled over river stones, and the two girls sat down in the water, letting the icy water flow over them. They laughed and shivered as they splashed their faces and scrubbed their arms and legs to remove the mud from the ditch, and some leftover manure. Dripping wet, the girls' teeth chattered as they put on their shoes and trudged back across the pasture toward the farmhouse. Lightning flashed in the distance, and thunder echoed in the lush green valley as they entered the farmyard where Addie plunged ahead through a gaggle of geese. Marin followed, but stopped short when the geese turned on her en masse, honking and hissing, their beaks open menacingly and their tongues wriggling like wriggly worms in their throats. Terrified, she turned and ran away from them. And they chased her! Squealing, Marin ran in a great arc around the wishing well, through a flower garden, and over a patch of lawn before finally being rescued by Addie, who grabbed her hand and pulled her into the hay barn and up onto some hay bales out of reach of the geese. "That was fun," Addie giggled. "Want to climb hay bales?" Marin stood, arms akimbo, and stared at her like she'd lost her mind. "I am still recovering," she said, bending at the waist and panting. I fell off a horse, got covered in manure, got stuck in quicksand mud, and nearly drowned, almost got bit by a snake, and was practically murdered by wild geese, and you want to play in a dirty old barn?" Lightning flashed, followed by a crack of thunder. "During a thunderstorm? You're so funny," Addie giggled, pulling Marin up a stair-step pile of hay bales. "You may never be a country girl, but you make me laugh, so you're all right." When they reached the top of the hay pyramid, they collapsed and lay where they could watch the approaching storm through the open barn door. Addie handed Marin a hay straw. "You can suck on it," she said, putting a straw of hay in her own mouth. Marin followed suit, although she didn't understand the appeal. "It's sweet, ain't it?" asked Addie. "Sure, if you think cow food counts as sweet," Marin said dryly. Addie laughed again as a gust of wind swirled into the barn. Still cold and wet, Marin asked to go into the house to warm up. "No need," Addie answered. Grabbing fistfuls of loose hay, she piled it onto Marin and then onto herself. "The hay keeps you warm," she said. Marin sneezed. She gaped at Addie. "Who lives like this?" Addie laughed aloud. "You're hilarious, Mare." She gave Marin a playful shove. "You can't be a country girl if you keep complaining like that, but you sure are funny when you do it." And, as unlikely a pair as they made, Addie was Marin's first friend in her new home on the river. That's the news from River to my home, down near Haven Hollow, where the Kiskatoon keeps rolling along, full of new friends, muddy adventures, and a few surprises that remind us just how wild and wonderful life can be. Until next time, keep your boots muddy and your hearts open.
Thanks for that lovely riverbank reverie, Julie May. As always, it hits sweeter than a juicy porch plum in June. By the way, Julie May, have you ever named a chicken after a biblical character? And if so, did it behave accordingly?
I do have chickens, but no, I have not named any after a biblical character. But if you want to get philosophical, I do think chickens...
Nope. Sorry, I don't think we have time for philosophizing right now.
Okay then, I'll say goodbye. Ciao, everybody.
And now, let's drift along with a tune that smells faintly of fresh-cut hay and hums like a tractor on an alfalfa run. This is Easy Travel by Grand Project, right here on KRYVR Kiskatoon River Radio. by Grand Project. You're listening to KRYVR Kiskatoon Radio, where the river sings and sunny is a state of mind. Well, country friends, we're nearing the end of our show for today. Thank you for joining us here on KRYVR Retro River Radio. And, like Grandpa Glenn always says, even if you're stuck in the mud, don't be a stick in the mud. Before we go, we'd like to invite you to help us keep this little raft afloat. If you happen to be floating by, stop off and toss a few coins in our donation jar. Every penny keeps electricity on and the mice out of the signal box. Thanks again for tuning in to KRYVR Retro Radio, where the river doesn't mind your accent and the breeze never tells your secrets. This has been your co-host, Jim Bob James, reminding you, live like someone's watching, dance like no one's watching, but drive like there's a deer ready to jump out and attack your car at every bend of the road. Good day, and God bless.
KRYVR River Radio is a homegrown production brought to you by KRYVR and the fine folks at True North Quests, helping you find your calling one story at a time. Written, edited, produced, and hosted by yours truly, Julie Morrill, co-hosted by James Jim Bob Simon. Special thanks to the talented musicians whose work helped bring today's episode to life. Cheesecake by Ofer Koren, Bring Me Back by J. Herwen, High Street by A Month of Sleep, by the Riverside and Easy Travel by Grand Project, and Can't Get Enough by Wildflowers. And last but never least, thanks be to God for every breath we breathe.